Ever feel like you're just stuck, you know, in the spin cycle of modern life?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you're not alone, right?
not at all. But what if I told you there's this philosophy?
Okay.
It's over 2,000 years old
Wow.
that offers like a path to calm and meaning, even in our crazy, chaotic world.
That's pretty good right now.
Right. Today's deep dive is all about Confucius
Okay.
and how his ancient wisdom might be exactly what we need, like right now in the 21st century.
It is amazing how these ideas, they were born in a time so different from our own,
Right.
but they still resonate so deeply. We're all searching for purpose, right?
Yeah.
Connection, that sense of inner peace. And it seems like Confucius had some pretty profound insights into how to achieve that. So let's start with the man himself.
Okay.
Who was Confucius? I mean, besides like the guy whose quotes are all over inspirational posters.
Well, he was born way back in 551 BCE in China, a
Wow.
time of like great social and political upheaval. But he wasn't born a sage, though. He was a scholar, a teacher, a very keen observer of human nature. And what's remarkable is how his ideas about personal ethics and social harmony, well, they kind of grew into one of the most influential philosophies in history.
So his ideas didn't just influence ancient China, but they've had this ripple effect across cultures and centuries.
Absolutely. Think about it. Confucian thought shaped education, government, family structures, even basic etiquette in East Asia for millennia. But the truly fascinating thing is that these principles also offer a framework for personal growth that's incredibly relevant in our modern world.
Let's get into that framework then. So we've got these three core concepts, Ren, Lin, and Xiao, which are like the pillars of Confucian thought, right?
Precisely. Imagine these concepts as the foundation stones for like a temple of wisdom.
Oh, I like that.
Each one is crucial, and together they support a life of balance and purpose.
Okay, I love that visual. So first up is Ren.
Okay.
Now, I've seen it translated as like benevolence, compassion, even love. But what's the essence of Ren, and why was it so important to Confucius?
Ren is often translated as benevolence or compassion, but it goes deeper than just like being nice to people. Think of it as genuine human-heartedness. It's about cultivating empathy, kindness, and genuine concern for others. What's really interesting is that Confucius believed practicing Ren wasn't just about being a good person, it was a form of self-cultivation, almost like self-care.
Now, that's interesting. Most people think of self-care as like bubble baths and face masks, not necessarily being kind to others. How does Ren fit into that picture?
There's a growing body of research that shows practicing compassion has tangible benefits for our mental and physical well-being. Think about it. When you're genuinely kind and empathetic, you tend to feel less stressed, more connected to others, and more at peace with yourself.
So it's not just about being a goody two-shoes. It's about recognizing that caring for others actually nourishes us too. That's a powerful idea. But how do we actually practice Ren in our daily lives? It's easy to get caught up in our own like to-do lists and forget about cultivating this kind of human-heartedness.
It doesn't have to be grand gestures. It's about making conscious choices, moment by moment.
Okay.
It could be as simple as truly listening to a friend who's venting, holding the door for a stranger, even choosing to be patient with a frustrating coworker instead of letting irritation take over.
Yeah.
It's about bringing that spirit of kindness and understanding to every interaction, even the mundane ones.
I'm already feeling a little more peaceful just thinking about that. It's a good reminder that even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, both on ourselves and the people around us. Okay, so we've got Ren, the inner feeling. But what about Li? How does that outward expression play into this?
Li is where that inner compassion of Ren takes shape in our actions and behaviors. It's often translated as ritual or propriety, but it's not about stuffy rules or rigid traditions. Think of Li as mindfulness applied to your interactions with the world.
So it's about being intentional in how we treat others, even in seemingly small ways.
Exactly. It's about acting with respect and consideration, whether you're interacting with a cashier, a loved one, or even someone online. It's about creating a more harmonious and respectful environment through our individual actions.
So Li is like the bridge between our inner world of compassion, Ren, and how we express that in the real world, creating positive interactions. I'm starting to see how these concepts are intertwined.
Precisely. And finally, we have Xiao, which is often translated as filial piety.
Okay.
This one might seem a bit more traditional, but bear with me because it's got some fascinating implications for modern life as well.
Okay, bring on the ancient wisdom. What's so important about filial piety, especially for those of us who may not have the closest relationships with our families or agree with all their traditions?
While Xiao is rooted in respect for parents and elders, it goes beyond just your immediate family.
Okay.
Think of it as recognizing the interconnectedness of generations, valuing the wisdom of those who came before us, and understanding that we're part of a larger tapestry.
So it's not just about blind obedience to authority figures, but about recognizing the contributions of those who shaped the world we live in today.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the legacy we've inherited and taking responsibility for how our actions will impact future generations. It's about fostering a sense of community and continuity, recognizing that we're all connected by this shared human experience.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. It reframes the concept of family and tradition in a way that feels much more relevant and meaningful for our modern lives. It's not about clinging to the past, but about understanding our place in the grand scheme of things.
And that brings us to the heart of what makes Confucian thought so enduring. It's not just a set of rules, it's a guide to living a life of purpose and meaning, both as individuals and as members of a larger community.
So we've got these three pillars. Ren, the inner cultivation of compassion. Li, the outward expression of that compassion through mindful action. And Xiao, recognizing our interconnectedness across generations.
You got it. Now, are you ready to see how these concepts come to life in Confucius's 10 timeless teachings for a more meaningful life?
Bring on the wisdom. Let's see how these ancient insights can help us navigate the complexities of the 21st century.
All right, so let's dive into these 10 teachings, each one like a gem of wisdom polished over centuries.
Okay.
First up, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop.
Oh, that feels like it was written for us, for our modern, always-on culture.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, it's hustle, grind, optimize.
It is.
This quote is like a permission slip to slow down, isn't it?
Exactly. Confucius was all about steady progress, not frantic sprints.
Yeah.
He understood that lasting change happens through consistent effort, even if it feels like baby steps.
Yeah.
You know? It's like that saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's about focusing on the process, not just the end goal.
So it's marathon, not sprint. What's a goal you're working towards that maybe feels a bit daunting right now? Something where this quote could be your mantra.
Well, I've been trying to incorporate mindfulness meditation into my daily routine.
Right.
Some days I manage a full 20 minutes. Other days, it's just a few deep breaths at my desk.
Yeah.
But I keep coming back to it, trusting that those small moments of stillness will add up over time.
That's great.
What about you?
Oh, you're speaking my language. I've been wanting to write a children's book for years.
Oh, wow.
But it feels so overwhelming, you know?
Yeah.
This quote makes me think maybe just starting with the character sketch or a few lines of dialogue is enough.
Yeah,
It's progress, right?
absolutely. And who knows, those small steps might spark inspiration and lead to a whole story. It's amazing how consistent action, even in small doses, can build momentum over time.
Okay, that's one, teaching down 9 more to go. What wisdom does Confucius have for us next?
This one is a potent antidote to the I know everything attitude that's so prevalent these days.
Yeah.
Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance.
Oof, that hits close to home.
Right.
It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking we've got it all figured out, especially with the internet, at our fingertips.
Yeah.
But as soon as you think you know everything, life throws you a curveball, right?
Exactly. And those moments, as uncomfortable as they might be, are actually golden opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
Confucius believed that true wisdom lies in recognizing the limits of our knowledge and being open to new information and perspectives.
It's like that feeling when you read a book or hear a podcast and it completely shifts your understanding of something.
Yes.
It can be a bit disorienting, but also incredibly exciting.
It is. It's that willingness to say, I don't know, that opens the door to deeper understanding.
Yeah.
It allows us to be lifelong learners, constantly evolving and refining our worldview.
So embracing a beginner's mind, being curious, admitting when we're wrong, that's the path to real knowledge. I like that. Okay, what's next?
And this next teaching feels especially important in our increasingly polarized world. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves.
Oh, wow. It's so easy to get caught up in judging others, especially online, where everyone seems to have a strong opinion about everything.
Right.
This quote is a call to pause before we point fingers, isn't it?
Exactly. Confucius understood that conflict often arises from a lack of understanding and empathy.
Yeah.
Instead of immediately dismissing someone with a different viewpoint, he encourages us to look inward and ask ourselves, why am I reacting this way? What assumptions am I making about this person? What can I learn from this situation?
It's like he's saying, before you criticize someone else's behavior, check your own.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder to practice that Ren, that human-heartedness, even when it's challenging.
And sometimes those challenging interactions can be the most illuminating. They force us to examine our own biases and prejudices, and maybe even expand our understanding of the world.
Okay, I'm making a note to channel Confucius next time I'm about to get into a heated debate online. Deep breaths and self-reflection. What's next on our list of Confucian wisdom?
This one is short, but packs a punch. Respect yourself, and others will respect you.
Oh, that's so simple yet profound. It speaks to the power of self-worth, doesn't it? It's not about arrogance or being self-centered, but about recognizing your own value and living authentically.
Precisely. Confucius believed that true confidence and respect come from within.
Yeah.
When you value yourself and live in alignment with your values, it naturally inspires respect in others.
Think about the people you admire most. They're not necessarily the loudest or most flamboyant, but they have this quiet confidence and integrity that draws people to them.
Exactly. And that kind of authentic self-respect can't be faked.
Right.
It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and living in a way that reflects those values.
This next teaching feels especially relevant for those of us trying to make a positive impact in the world. To put the world in order, we must first set our hearts right.
Ah, yes. This is about recognizing that lasting change starts from within.
Okay.
We can't create a more just, compassionate, or peaceful world if we're constantly operating from a place of inner turmoil or negativity.
It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. It's just
Yeah.
not going to be stable. We need to cultivate inner peace and clarity first, and then our actions will naturally flow from that place of wholeness.
It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish. It's actually a prerequisite for effective action in the world. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
This reminds me of the oxygen mask analogy. On airplanes, you have to put your own mask on first before you can help others.
Exactly.
Okay, hit me with another one of these Confucian wisdom bombs.
Here's one that feels tailor-made for our social media age. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions.
Mic drop. We live in a culture of self-promotion and constant broadcasting. But Confucius is reminding us that actions speak louder than words. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Have you ever noticed how people who brag constantly often don't actually deliver?
Oh, totally.
It's like they're trying to compensate for a lack of substance with empty boasts.
Yeah, true confidence comes from knowing your worth and letting your actions speak for themselves. It's about focusing on the work, the craft, the process, and trusting that the results will follow.
And this next teaching offers encouragement for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by a big goal. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
Oh, we touched on this earlier,
We did.
but it's worth repeating.
It is.
It's a reminder that even the most daunting tasks become manageable when we break them down into smaller steps.
Exactly. It's easy to get paralyzed by the enormity of a long-term goal.
Yeah.
But this teaching encourages us to focus on the present moment and take that first step and then the next and the next. It's about celebrating those small wins along the way and trusting the process.
What's a big dream you have that feels overwhelming right now? Maybe applying this quote can help you break it down and find that first step.
You know, I've always wanted to write a novel.
Oh, wow.
I've got notebooks filled with ideas, but the thought of actually writing a whole book feels paralyzing. Maybe I could start by committing to writing just one page a day.
There you go. See, that's not so scary, right? And who knows, those daily pages might just turn into chapters and eventually a whole manuscript. The key is to keep moving forward one step at a time.
This next teaching is a call for stillness in our noisy world. Silence is a true friend who never betrays.
The power of silence. We're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation.
Yes, we are.
It's so easy to get swept up in the noise and forget to tune in to our inner world.
Confucius understood the importance of carving out space for quiet contemplation. It's in those moments of stillness, free from distractions, that we can connect with our intuition, process our experiences, and gain clarity.
I'm a huge believer in meditation. Even just a few minutes of sitting in silence, observing my breath, can completely shift my energy and perspective.
Exactly. It's not about emptying the mind completely, but about creating space to simply be, to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment.
Yeah.
In that stillness, we often find the answers we've been seeking.
Okay, 2 more teachings left. What wisdom does Confucius have for us as we wrap up this exploration?
This one is a classic for a reason. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.
Resilience.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes, but about having the courage to get back up and keep going even when things get tough.
Exactly. We all stumble and fall in life. but it's how we respond to those setbacks that defines us. Confucius believed that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and learning.
I love that reframing. It's not about avoiding failure, but about seeing it as a stepping stone on the path to success. Think of a time when you faced a major challenge or setback. Looking back, what did you learn from that experience? How did it shape who you are today?
Well, a few years ago, I poured my heart and soul into a project that ended up being a total slop. I
Oh,
was devastated at the time, but it forced me to reevaluate my priorities and ultimately led me to a much more fulfilling path. It was a painful lesson, but one I wouldn't trade for anything.
it sounds like it.
It does. And that's the beauty of resilience. It allows us to transform our setbacks into valuable learning experiences. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that the path to growth is rarely a straight line.
Okay, we're down to the final teaching. What wisdom does Confucius leave us with?
This one is a reminder of the importance of critical thinking, especially in our age of information overload. He who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger.
Whoa, that's a powerful statement. We have access to more information than ever before, but it's easy to get lost in the sea of data without taking the time to process and apply what we're learning.
Confucius understood that knowledge without reflection is like a rudderless ship. It's going nowhere. It's about actively engaging with the information we consume, questioning our assumptions and making connections between different ideas.
So it's not just about passively absorbing information, but about becoming active participants in our own learning.
Exactly. We need to cultivate both the ability to learn and the ability to think critically, to discern what's valuable and relevant, and to apply that knowledge to our lives in meaningful ways.
Wow, it's amazing how relevant these teachings feel even thousands of years later.
I know, right?
We've covered so much ground from the core concepts of Renli and Xiao to these 10 timeless principles.
Yeah.
What's really sticking with you as we wrap up our deep dive into Confucius?
You know what strikes me is how this philosophy isn't about like rigid rules or dogma.
Right.
It's a framework for living a more thoughtful, intentional, and fulfilling life.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating inner harmony and letting that ripple outwards into our interactions with the world.
It's like a recipe for a good life, but with ancient wisdom as like the key ingredients.
Yes.
We've got compassion, self-reflection, mindful action, respect for ourselves and others, a sense of connection to something bigger than ourselves. It's quite a potent mix.
And the beauty of it is that it's adaptable.
Yeah.
These principles can be applied to like any situation,
Right.
any relationship, any challenge we face in our modern lives.
Absolutely.
Whether you're navigating a career change, a personal crisis, or simply trying to be a better friend, parent, or partner,
Yeah.
Confucian thought offers guidance and wisdom that transcends time and culture.
So Confucius isn't just some historical figure we read about in textbooks. His teachings are a gift that keeps on giving, offering insights and tools for anyone seeking a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And remember, what we've explored today is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
There's a whole universe of Confucian thought out there waiting to be discovered.
So if our listeners are feeling inspired to learn more, where should they start? Any books, resources, or rabbit holes you recommend?
The Analects, which is a collection of Confucius's sayings and conversations, is a great starting point. There are also many excellent commentaries and interpretations that can help make these ancient texts more accessible to modern readers.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of simply reflecting on these teachings and seeing how they resonate with your own experiences.
That's a great point. It's not just about absorbing information, but
Yeah.
about internalizing these ideas and seeing how they can inform our actions, our relationships, and ultimately how we move through the world.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe by incorporating a little bit of Confucian wisdom into our daily lives, we can collectively create a world that's a little bit kinder, a little bit more just, and a little bit more peaceful.
I love that. It's a beautiful reminder that ancient wisdom can offer powerful solutions for modern challenges. That's it for our deep dive into the world of Confucius.
It was fun.
It really was. We hope you found it as thought-provoking and inspiring as we did. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep living a life of meaning and purpose.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Deep Thoughts Podcast. I hope you found insights and inspiration to take with you on your journey of self-growth. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on new releases and exclusive content. See you next time, where we'll continue to help you grow and explore your full potential.